I just need to point out that I get bit a lot when I'm outside, and I have, like, this is super unattractive. I don't know if you can see, but, like, there's one right there, and there's one right there. Like, I look like I'm being beat or something when I walk around, so that's fun, and they itch really bad. Perks of summer, right? Okay, I digress. Anyway, next book, Ghost Boys. This book, I mean, super short. I read it within a couple hours. Okay, let me just show you. I mean, oh, okay. There's like nothing to this book. And it's like 200 pages, but I literally read it in a couple hours. So, I found this book. Where did I find this book? A list, one of many lists, about popular books from authors of color, I believe. Something along those lines. I don't know. I randomly found it. And I was like, oh, okay, super short. It is, I don't know what it's, I mean, it's fiction, but it's like a children's book. It's a children's book, but it's not a children's book because it's like 200 pages, but the writing is super simplistic in it. So, and it's from the perspective of a child. So Jerome is in middle school in Chicago, and his sister is also kind of a part of it. She's in elementary school. So the words aren't very big. I mean, yeah, it's a breeze. So anyway, Jerome is kind of a loner. He is bullied at school by these boys. He finally meets this new kid, Carlos, who moved up from San Antonio, I believe. So they kind of become buddies on day one, like, and not even on purpose. Like, I think his teacher was just like, here, sit next to Jerome, and they just were forced together. So there's a situation that happens, and Carlos gives Jerome a toy gun to play with. So what happens? That toy gun is what ultimately kills Jerome. So it starts out right at the beginning of the book. Jerome is shot in the back by a white cop. So it goes back and forth between the perspective of I'm dead to the perspective of I'm alive, but it's more the perspective of I'm dead. So it kind of tells like what's leading up to it, and then he dies. That's what happens. So he dies. He becomes a ghost. So he sees what's happening at the funeral. He sees his family. He's in the courtroom for the preliminary hearing with the white cop, and he sees this girl who happens to be the cop's daughter, Sarah. They're about the same age, and Sarah's pissed. Like, she's mad at her dad, right? She like learns some things, blah, blah, blah. Well, she can see Jerome as a ghost, so like they talk and stuff, but then there's also another ghost that is in the picture, Emmett Till. So we learn a little bit about his story, and they say it's like their duty to tell other people like why all these black kids are being shot by cops and racism and that kind of thing. So the topics are kind of heavy, but I think the whole point was to write a book for children, right? But adults can read it, of course. I thought it was poignant. So anyway, so that's the Ghost Boys. That's why it's called that, because they're like roaming the streets. And then there's other mention of other children, like Trayvon Martin comes up once or twice. Yeah, so it becomes like Sarah's duty to educate, and I don't know, it's interesting. I wish I would have known like what happens after, but yeah, so they are super young, and it's a sad story, but I thought it was interesting to see the perspective of like, so there's one situation where Jerome's out walking around as a ghost. He's out walking around. He's like, I've never seen these neighborhoods before. I didn't know that schools were this nice, because he's just like going into like buildings and no one can see him, so he can do whatever he wants. He's like, I was never allowed to play outside. The one time I play outside is when I get shot. So things like that are interesting, just different perspective, worldview. So yeah, that's that in a nutshell. Super short video. Easy peasy. All right, that's all I got. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.